So you have spent most of your life as a people pleaser, right? You find it hard to say no to people. You find it almost impossible to stand in or on your own thoughts, your own opinions, your own ideas, right? And not only that, but you are afraid of disappointing people. You are afraid of disappointing your family. You are afraid of disappointing your friends. Heck, you are even afraid of disappointing people that you don't even know. And because of this, you fail to show up as your authentic self. You fail to show up as who you truly are simply because you have this need to be liked, this need to be validated, this need to be seen in a certain perspective or a certain light. And so you fail to be your authentic self. You fail to express who you truly are because you are so afraid of the opinions of people, right? And see, I know all this because I used to be a people pleaser for most of my life. And what I've learned from being a people pleaser is I know the pain and I know the unhappiness that comes from being one, right? You almost feel as if you are in a cage, but this cage feels like a form of self imprisonment, right? You feel as if you are the one who's keeping yourself hostage, and actually, you are the one that's keeping yourself hostage, right? And because of this, it feels almost impossible to break free. It feels almost impossible to escape, the confines of the cage that you've created for yourself, right? And after trying so much of my life, or for so much of my life to escape, I am finally at a place in my life in which I feel free. I'm finally at a place in my life in which a lot of the people pleasing tendencies that I had, a lot of my people pleasing desires and things that I used to do, I am no longer, I guess, held by them, right? I'm no longer a prisoner of my own self imprisonment, right? And that is what I wish for everyone. That is my wish for you that's watching this video, right? I want you to break free and to show up to life as your real and authentic self, right? And so in this video, I am going to share with you the three things or the three steps that you need to take in order for you to break free from your people pleasing, right? In order for you to finally show up to the world as your authentic self, right? And without further ado, let's begin. Now, the first thing that you need to end your people pleasing is you need awareness. You need awareness. I'm going to say it again. You need awareness. See, when you've been a people pleaser for so much of your life, right? Most of the time, you're not even aware that you're people pleasing. Your people pleasing tendencies are almost on autopilot, right? They're just things which you do without even a second thought. And if you want to break this loop of being a people pleaser, you need to bring more awareness into your life. And you need to bring more awareness into your daily interactions with people, right? You need awareness because it is impossible for you to break free from something if you're not even aware that you're doing it, right? And most of us aren't even aware of the times in which we're people pleasing, right? Until recently, I didn't even recognize the ways in which I was people pleasing, right? And some of the things that I was doing, I wasn't even aware of them, right? But by bringing more awareness into my life and into my interactions with people, I was able to interrupt that loop. And because I was able to interrupt that loop, I was able to set myself free from a lot of my people pleasing tendencies, right? And see, if you are confused about whether or not you are people pleasing, right? You have to pause for a moment and you have to ask yourself these questions or these succession of questions, right? Whatever is applicable to the moment, right? You have to pause and really genuinely ask yourself and be honest with yourself, right? You have to ask yourself, am I agreeing to do this for this person or with this person because I genuinely want to do it? Or am I simply agreeing to do it because I don't want to disappoint this person? I don't want to let this person down, right? You have to ask yourself, am I agreeing with the ideas, the beliefs, the perspective of this person? The perspective of this person, right? It just landed on my pinky, my thumb. Am I agreeing with the perspective of this person because I'm afraid of rocking the boat or because I'm afraid of upsetting this person, right? You have to ask yourself, am I not showing up as my authentic self in this moment because I'm afraid of how this person is going to perceive me? Because I'm afraid of how my friends, my family, the people I come in contact with in my daily life, am I refusing to truly show up as I am, as I truly am, because I am afraid of how they're going to perceive me, right? You have to ask yourself these genuine questions and you have to be honest with yourself. You really have to be honest with yourself, right? If you lie to yourself, you are going to stay stuck being a people pleaser for all of your life. And you are constantly going to live a painful and unhappy life, right? So you genuinely have to be honest with yourself. If you are not honest, you can't begin to set yourself free, right? It's impossible, right? So the first thing, like I said, that you need is awareness, absolute awareness, right? Now, the second thing that you need in order for you to escape your people pleasing tendencies, right? And this is very important. And this isn't just important in the terms of ending your people pleasing, but this is something that you need in your everyday life. This is one of the fundamental things that you need in your everyday right in your everyday life, right? And the second thing that you need to overcome your people pleasing tendencies is that you need courage. You need the courage to say no to people whenever you don't feel like doing something or whenever something is an inconvenience, right? You need courage to stand on your own ideas, your own thoughts, your own beliefs. You need courage to disappoint people if it means staying true to yourself, right? You need courage to be your authentic self, even if your authentic self isn't going to be liked by someone or be liked by the people around you, right? So you need courage if you want to break free from your people pleasing tendencies, right? You need courage. It is not enough to just be aware. Because if you're aware of being a people pleaser, or if you're aware of the ways in which you're people pleasing, but yet you don't have the courage to 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 interrupt that loop or to stop doing the things that you are constantly doing, then you are going to stay trapped. And a lot of people in this world are stuck being a people pleaser because they don't have the courage, or because they can't muster up the courage to step away from the tendencies that they have, to step away from the people pleasing habits, right? So in order for you to break free, you need courage. If you want to stop being a people pleaser, you need courage. Courage to stand on who you are. Courage to stand in your own ideas, your own beliefs. You need courage to say no to people when something is an inconvenience, or when something isn't something that you want to do, right? You need courage. And see, when it comes on to this world, my good people, you have to be willing to be disliked if it means liking yourself. You have to be willing to be hated by people if it means loving yourself. And you have to be willing to not be chosen by other people if it means choosing yourself, right? And there are zero people pleasers that I know who actually like themselves, right? For most of my life, being a people pleaser, I didn't like myself. And actually, being a people pleaser comes from sort of a feeling of unworthiness or not being good enough, right? It comes from that. And because you feel like you're not worthy, or you're not good enough, you acquiesce to the opinions of other people. You acquiesce to the things that they want you to do, right? You fail to show up as your authentic self, and so you bend and mold yourself into who you think this person wants you to be, because you feel as if you need their validation, you need their acceptance, or you need their quote unquote love to feel as if you're not good enough. So when it comes on to this life, you need courage. The courage to be disliked, the courage to be hated, the courage to not be chosen by people if it means choosing yourself. You need courage. Courage is a non-negotiable when it comes on to life, right? And so you have to muster up that courage. There isn't some special formula that I can give to you. There isn't any special formula in which anyone can give to you in order for you to set yourself free, because you are the one, whether you are aware of it or not, that has kept yourself in this cage of self-imprisonment. You are the one who's keeping yourself hostage. And if you want to break free, if you want to stop being a people pleaser, you need to add more courage into your life. And you need to muster up the courage, right, to break free. You need courage, right? And the last thing, and this is very important as well, the last thing that you need to stop being a people pleaser is you need self validation. You need self validation, right? And see, when you've been a people pleaser for so much of your life, right, your feeling of worthiness or your validation comes from other people, right? They are the source of your worth. You feel good about yourself when someone says something good about you, when someone sees you in a certain perspective, right? Your validation and your worthiness is dependent on people whenever you are a people pleaser, right? And once you've made the decision to break free, once you've mustered up the courage to stop doing the things, right? To stop, you know, holding on to the people pleasing tendencies that you once had, that that space, right? is now going to be empty, right? Remember, it was once filled by the validation of other people. Once you step away from the validation of other people, that void is going to be empty. And you cannot fill that void with nothing. You need to fill that space with something, right? And the only thing that you can fill it with is your own validation, your own acceptance, right? Your own reassurance, your own love. That is what you have to fill that empty void with, right? Your own validation. Essentially, you have to become your own source. You have to become your own source for everything that you once relied, you know, on other people for, right? You have to be able to speak life into yourself. You have to be able to pat yourself on the back. You have to be able to reassure yourself, right? You need to now fill that empty space with your own love, right? Whenever you find yourself in a situation in which you muster up the courage to say no to someone because of, maybe you don't want to do the thing which they ask you to do or it's an inconvenience. Whenever you mustered up the courage to say no, you have to validate yourself. You have to tell yourself how proud of yourself you are to have the courage to say no. Whenever you stand on your own opinions, your own thoughts, and you don't just go along with what someone else is saying to not rock the boat, you have to validate yourself. You have to pat yourself on the back. You have to tell yourself how proud of yourself you are, right? Whenever you start showing up as your authentic self and you stop stifling who you are just so that you can be liked by other people, you have to give yourself your own love. Tell yourself how proud of yourself you are. Speak life into yourself. Give yourself your own love and your own acceptance so that you no longer go back to relying on the acceptance and the love of other people, right? And so if you don't fill that void with your own love, your own validation, your own acceptance, if you don't become your own source for everything that you once relied on other people for, you are going to go back to being a people pleaser. And it is one thing to be an unaware people pleaser, but the worst thing to be, or one of the worst things to be in this world, is a people pleaser that is aware that he or she is people pleasing, right? The unaware person is completely oblivious to their people pleasing and to the attack against selves, right? But if you are aware of your people pleasing, where you still uphold the people pleasing, that is one of the worst things to be in this world because you are keeping yourself trapped and you are aware that you're keeping yourself trapped, right? But yet, because you don't have the courage to step out of it, you keep yourself in a prison, right? So you have to fill that space. You have to fill that void. You have to fill it with your own love, your own acceptance, your own validation. You have to become your own source. Because if you don't become your own source, you are going to go back to being a people pleaser. But now you are going to be an aware people pleaser. And that's one of the worst things, like I said before, to truly be in this world, right? Because that to me is a conscious attack against yourself, right? You are consciously attacking yourself. You are consciously keeping yourself hostage. And to me, that's truly no way to live, right? And so, yeah, the three things that you need to overcome your people pleasing is first awareness, bringing more awareness into your life and being aware of the moments and the interactions that you have with people in which you're people pleasing, right? The second thing that you need is courage. And this is probably the most important one because if you can't find the courage or muster up the courage to step away from that people pleasing, and if you don't have the courage to risk being disliked or being hated or being not chosen by people, you are going to remain in that self imprisonment for all of your life, right? And the final thing that you need is self validation. You need to fill that space, that void that was once dependent on other people with your own acceptance, your own validation, your own reassurance, and your own love, right? That's an absolute necessity when it comes down to life. Because I really believe a huge component of truly living and living a good life is to become your own source for everything in this world. Becoming your own source for your validation, becoming your own source for your own peace, becoming your own source for your own joy, becoming your own source for your own self worth and your own love, right? To truly live a good life, you have to become your own source. Because if the way you feel about yourself, if your acceptance, if your own love, your own self-love is contingent on other people, then you're constantly going to go through life unhappy. And you're constantly going to acquiesce to other people, acquiesce to their opinions, acquiesce to the things that they want you to do or the ways they want you to be. And no happiness can come from that. And so becoming your own source is the only way to truly set yourself free from the bondage of other people and from the bondage and captivity of your own self. Stepping into your own everything, your own love, your own validation, stepping into it is the only way to truly set yourself free, right? So yeah, if you made it this far, um, thank you for being here with me. And I genuinely hope this video, you know, was a help to at least one person. Because I know the pain that comes from being a people pleaser, right? I know the unhappiness that comes from being one. And what I truly wish for this world and what I truly wish for everyone in this world is to truly set themselves free and to truly start living a life that is authentic. Because authenticity is the only way to true happiness, true bliss in this world. And for me, authenticity is one of the highest, if not the highest form of love, right? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Give yourselves a bit of love every day, like I always say. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.